Today then, I'm going to talk about three really big things. What we see in the market, what consumers are saying and thinking, and what we think that means longer term and where we think that's going in the future. I'm sure you all remember most of these. Now, the oldest one that I could find using my recollection of having seen things was Capri Sun. And I was able to track that back to 1981 in a pouch. It probably predates that, and I'm sure there are some other pouches that are earlier than that. So clearly we see a lot of products in pouches, especially in food and drink, and we see the number of products showing up in pouches continuing to grow. And I think the point to take away here is this trend line of ever-increasing products. We see the number of product introductions continuing to rise. Now this number here for 2017 is only through the end of July. And so I would guess, in looking at this and looking at this pattern, that by the time we get to the end of 2017, we'll see that pattern of growth year on year continue. So far, so through the end of July of 2017, flexible stand-up pouches were in just under 10% of all products introduced into the US so far this year. Let's take a quick look at non-food. What you see for beauty and personal care, big growth, but tiny, tiny, tiny numbers. So far in 2017, it's less than 0.3%. So that isn't 3%, that's a third of 1%. As we take a look here in household products, we see a slightly different pattern that we've seen a little bit of decrease in the percent of products that come in pouches, but the numbers are much higher, with the highest in 2015 of being just over 2.5%. So a different pattern and a greater number of products. And to me, it really does feel like in household, there's so much opportunity in the US market, especially for refills to show up in those flexible pouches. Let's take a look at some of the things that we see out there in the market. The examples that you see here are from some, for the most part, two smaller companies, two retailers, that really show that we're seeing some unusual contents in those pouches. These two from these two little companies are really kind of interesting. This one is dill pickle slices to snack on. That's a whole different way to look at snacking. And a different kind of package really helps drive that home. Think of Olos and some of the olives that you see out there, individual portions in a snack size. We see retailers employing some of the latest product trends, whether it's what's in the product or what the package is, to appeal to the broadest group of consumers they possibly can. So we see some very basic everyday products, cooked rice in a pouch, sunflower seeds in a pouch, but from major retailers at a good price break. So this is what we see from retailers and from little companies, but we see plenty of interesting innovation from some of the biggest companies as well. The Rana line of pastas and pasta sauces are really quite interesting, and one of the bigger brands that we see in store in refrigerated filled pasta. All of them in pouches, all of them with quite a long shelf life, and really designed to help consumers have a quick, easy meal. Those pastas go in a pot of boiling water for about 2 minutes, and then they're all set to go and to be sauced with what you'd like. So you can get a meal on the table super, super quick. We're seeing clay mask products now from mainstream beauty care companies, and now that one, as you can see, is from Sephora. So in a textbook pouch, twist off that little cap, squeeze out what you need, apply it to your face, and go on from there. But the whole point of that is that it's a product that is very much on trend. A little bit of data that we've got, this is a little bit of an eye chart, but what you want to look at is right over here. So our consumer folks who know all of our consumer data inside out and backwards and forwards are able to do some what they call correspondence analysis to try to understand, in the case of this, what kind of attributes do consumers associate with particular types of packages. And flexible pouches are the ones that consumers see as modern and exciting and fun, as opposed to glass jars, more premium and trustworthy, metal cans, old-fashioned. So as you can see, consumers see the different types of packages as different types of things. And I think this whole idea of pouches being modern is so important, especially for today's millennial consumer. Kraft has an instant pudding mix that's a simple formulation, so ingredients that are easy to understand, in a flexible pouch. And that's the first time, I think, that we've seen a pudding mix in that type of a package. This is a chocolate bark. You would look at it and you would think that's cat food, right? That's why you're showing a big cat on the package. No, it's a company called Endangered Species Chocolate. I don't know if you've seen their products. They tend to come in bars, but these are barks, so little brittle products that come in a pouch. And it's all about how the company gives back to help endangered species. We ask consumers, so what's important to you with the packaging that you buy? Well, that it's resealable. And as we look at the age groups, the purple one are the youngest consumers, 18 to 34. Green is 35 to 54, so that's not all boomers. It's some Gen Xers and a little bit of millennials on the front end, and then 55 plus, which is mainly boomers. And what you see then is everybody wants packaging to be resealable. Older consumers, no surprise, want packages that are a little bit easier to open. Yeah. Younger consumers want packaging that's multi-purpose. What we also see is we see an increasing number of products in pouches where the pouch has a clear window. So a little bit of transparency so you can see what's in it. There are a couple of great examples of that over on that table over there by the door that are baby and toddler food that are in see-through pouches. Pouches are ideally suited to offer beautiful graphics, which really help show consumers the deliciousness of what's inside, and/or transparent windows to truly show the consumer what's inside. Ease of use also spells a lot of potential for the future of pouches. They're easy to transport, they're not heavy as some other package forms might be. They're reclosable, resealable, often in a very small size, especially good for consumers as they get older, younger consumers in single households. 30 years ago, I don't think we would have guessed that we would see the kinds of products in pouches that we do now, the kinds of pouches that we do now. And I have to think that the next 5 or 10 or more years will bring even more revolutionary development to the whole concept of flexible pouches.